We have Ryan Tisbe, who will be talking about his blue hybrid deck that took him to top 8 at Digi-Fest. So, yeah, go ahead and tell us about the deck.
Alright, so I played blue hybrid for this Digi-Fest. I like to call it my blue champion hybrid because I really utilize a good amount of Tamers and just rushing my opponents down with level 4s. Reason why I chose that deck, I think it was a good meta call over green, which was the only other deck that I was actually considering. But yeah, good meta call. It covers a lot of the meta. We'll start with the deck list now.
Okay.
We'll go with eggs first. So eggs as usual, 4 Upamons. Best blue egg, honestly almost one of the best eggs in the game. Self-explanatory. For the one of, it actually came in clutch a lot. 1 Demi V. The extra 1k, I mean, your hand sizes in blue are pretty outrageous sometimes, and the extra 1k, it lets your Bayo swing over Jet Sylphies, it lets your Korikaku swing over their hybrids. Pretty clutch card. It makes the BT5 Strabi, BT6 Strabi, a 4k, which is really useful sometimes as well. So this card was pretty clutch. We'll start with the meat of the deck. So it's going to be Tamers, 3 Davis. I mean, best blue memory setter in the game. It speaks for itself. I mean, it's one of the best cards for blue. Next is the MVP of the deck, 4 Tommies. Lock and stun, lock and stun. I mean, this card should have been the card that got banned, not Ice Wall. But I mean, this card, when red swings into it in security, I mean, it's probably the worst feeling in the world for them.
Yeah.
I think I played, what, 2 red hybrids and a Jesmon, and the red hybrid first swing was a Tommy, and
Oh my gosh.
what am I supposed to say? Like, what can I say?
Yeah, it's, I mean, even like me playing Lord Nightmine, when I see a Tommy first swing, I just lose my whole stack. Like, yeah, it sucks. So.
It really sucks, especially for a lot of tower decks where they do all this effort to just go up this stack. They swing once, Tommy, or if they can't kill you off that one stack, you just clap back with the Tommy. So it's really, really good card. Next is 2 Sorajos. This is one of the cards where I was just in a dilemma if it should be 2 or 3. I just ran 2 because the third didn't really come up in most matchups. The only time I actually won a third is versus yellow hybrid. So I thought that a 2 was a really good number for it. And I mean, nothing like getting 4 under interactable memory. Next, Tamer. I don't play the Magna engine, and I don't play any Megas in the deck. So the next Tamers I used were the starter deck mats, which were really clutch. All day long, people are like, what does this card do? Like, you play that, what does this card do? Oh, it gives you 1 memory. It's like a poverty version of Sora Joe, but being able to 2 cost and give you 1 memory, because they didn't play around it, you just plus so much. And being able to, they put you at 2 memory, Hammer Spark, play the, they pitch you at 1, you Hammer Spark, play this, go Boko. If they don't kill the Boko, they're pretty much fucked. It's too good of a card to be playing, in my opinion, not be playing as blue hybrid.
I mean, it is like you said, it's a 2-drop rookie essentially, right? And that also passively gives you memory for doing what your deck does and just strip shows.
Yes. And then, I mean, when you're in the pinching battle early, I mean, having a 2-drop where...
In the pinching battle.
Where you don't really have to waste a Digi in your raising, or you don't have to raise the Digi. I mean, just being able to play a Tamer for 2 and still pinch, it's really clutch. And then a lot of decks right now kind of want hard cast stuff. Like, for example, with like the memory blockers. I mean, once a memory blocker comes out, it doesn't really matter anymore just because this deck has so many ways to balance it. So this is a really good way to punish it. And then 4 Bokos. So next to Tommy, this is the MVP of the deck. Usually if I mulligan, as long as I see a Boko, I'm keeping the hand. If they don't answer to this deck specifically, because there's so many Tamers and there's such a focus on champion rushing people down, if they don't kill the Boko early, then they're about to get fucked because it's going to be a body on board and then another Tamer because you're just plussing so much off it. So this was really the MVP. Most when it came down to mulliganing, as long as I saw a Boko, I keep the hand. If I don't see it, mulligan until I do to find the Boko.
Just to recap, your Tamer count is pretty high. It was how much?
It is 3, 5, 9, 12 Tamers.
12 Tamers, okay.
12 Tamers.
So, man, Boko has such a high chance of hitting.
Yeah, so literally, Boko is pot of greed. So
wow.
When you Boko, you get a Tamer and a hybrid almost every single time. And then, again, if they don't answer to it and you have a Tamer on board already, So like these two cards literally won me most games. Like if you guys saw yourself, like I finished my game so early just because these two cards just let me rush people down so easily.
Yeah.
If they didn't kill this,
You were done in like 10 minutes.
like if they didn't kill this, I'm just rushing them down with champions. So that's like these three cards were the real MVP. And the reason why a high Tamer count was there's so many decks right now where if they, like for example, versus like Lilith Loop or anything purple where they swing and they die, they want to die when they swing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really do that versus this deck, so they're just running into Tamers. So I mean, worst thing in this meta right now is just running into Tamers as opposed to like actual security bombs. So.
Yeah, and then also like when they don't die and they don't have like a nail bone, it's not a nail bone, death claw or like a calling to kill the Eismon or something like that. You can strip search all the Gabu and Demimera away, you can strip away with Tommy, which is really good, like really good.
Yeah, and then there's so many times where people think they're safe and they're like, oh, I'm not going to kill the Boko because it's not really a threat. Let me swing at security, and then it's a Tamer.
Hit a Tamer, yeah.
And now they're forced to kill the Boko or they're going to get fucked. So
yeah, very good.
Boko and Mats and Tommy's were the MVPs. Next rookie count, I have a pretty low rookie count. I don't feel like I needed too much rookies because I was very careful on when I bring them out. We'll start with the hybrid rookies first. 4 Searcher Shravis, I mean, this is a given. This was also pot agreed as well with how high the Tamer and the hybrid counts are.
Damn, 8 pot agreed in the deck.
So, like, you play this. Like, if I didn't see Boko and I had Strabi, it was okay, but Boko's preferred just because it allowed for the Wombo combos. But 4 Strabis, self-explanatory, best blue hybrid outside of the other Strabi. And then 4 of the other Strabi. This card was really clutch too. 3K, it actually mattered a lot because I was able to, in the mirror, I was able to swing over their rookies, which is huge, and they couldn't swing over this. And then the Inheritable was clutch as well.
Always game. Memory's like God.
Memory's God this format. Like, if you don't have one way to manipulate memory, your deck's kind of lacking. And then, so that's 8 rookies, and then I only ran a total of 10 rookies. And the next 2 were Siako. In hindsight, I think I have Madokis in the side. I was just torn between the Siakos versus Madokis. I was more afraid of green and yellow hybrids. Yeah. So I was like, Siako hurts them more, where versus blue or versus any other deck, I could always side Madoki in. So I was more in fear of that. It didn't really come up too often. What came up more with this, again, is the fact that it's 3K. Yeah. So the fact that this is a big boy, there were so many times where like I have a Korikaku and a Siako, and then when I was playing red, they couldn't, if they were trying to Atomic Blaster, they could have only killed one. So
hey, that's good. That's important.
Yeah. So only 10 rookies, and then let's go with the champions. 1 Lobo. Reason why only 1 Lobo, the 5K matters, especially in the mirror. I don't think 2 is correct. I needed more than 10 just because I had 12 Tamers. I felt like I needed to at least come close with the ratio. So 1 Lobo, I think that was perfect. If anything, I should have sided another just because the 5K was really clutch. 2 Kendo Gurus. This card was a little underwhelming over the weekend just because most memory stoppers didn't really come up. So this card kind of hurt me in some ways over the other where I needed something. So maybe in hindsight, maybe 2 Lobos, 1 Kendo. But in the mirror, the reason why I play this is like, for example, in the mirror versus green to get rid of the memory blocker rookies. Because if memory blockers kind of slows down the deck a bit because it stops the Boko plays.
Correct.
I should have, in hindsight, maybe sided 1 and made another Lobo. But I mean, in testing, it felt good. It's just at actual tournament day, it didn't really come up at all. There were some times where the 30 cost Digivolve still hurt. Yeah. Because like I'd have to pay 1 with Boko, which was, it kind of hurt sometimes, but it is what it is. And then per usual, the normal blue package, 4 Kumamons. I mean, can't complain. Strip 1, 4K. This card's pretty clutch. I actually forced perfect. Yeah. Next, the other MVP of the deck, Mr. Stunboy himself, Corey Kakumon. So
they should have gave this guy a pre-release.
Yeah, they should give a pre-release. They should have made a foil. I mean, this guy's the other MVP of the deck. I mean, nothing like just stunning a whole board just by digitally evolving on top of itself as many times as you have copies. So yeah, this card's too busted. It's self-explanatory. I don't really need to go over it. I mean, if you have the top package, you need 4 and 4 of each. And then the champion package, just 4 Bayos again. This card's really busted as well. Like this, and then the Demi V egg was so clutch where I'm able to swing over to the 7K, so that felt really good. But I mean, this card's so busted. You gotta loop your level 4s. I don't know why this is only an uncommon. This should have been like a super rare or something. But this card, another self-explanatory card.
Yeah.
Let's go with the options. Just one Ice Wall. I mean, card's too good not to play.
Yeah.
2 Howlings. This is another blue staple. You have to play it. Easy way to just, your only form of defense is going to be this and your Ice Wall. 4 Hammer Sparks. I know
all different
rarities. You gotta get your opponents off their game, so they're trying to keep track of the Hammer Sparks, but they see them not knowing what rarity it is, kind of throws them off a bit. But yeah, I mean, 4 Hammer Sparks is self-explanatory. I think this is the correct amount, especially with how easily you get rid of memory stoppers. So the only thing that really cucks you is just Mimi, but I mean, you can only do it once per turn. So this card's too clutch.
Yeah.
And then lastly, again, I don't run 2 Megas, but I run 2 Susanoos just for the yellow hybrid matchup. Most of my matchups go so quick where I don't really need a Mega there on the side. But again, versus yellow hybrid, it's more of a grindy matchup. The way I win is with Susanoo. So I just build up my Tamers, play the Tamer game. Again, I run more Tamers than your normal blue hybrid, so I can play the waiting game a little longer. Just poke, get them down to 4 life, Susanoo, GG.
Okay, nice. All right, and that's good for the main deck. Can we see the side?
Side deck. All right. So for the side, let's organize a bit. All right. So for the side, again, this is probably the most sided card. Madoki should have been in the main, to be honest. I mean, Siako was good, but those matchups against the yellow hybrid, I mean, it wasn't too much of a difference maker. Whereas Madoki would have helped versus it almost always was sided in.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It's like, honestly, memory is, like we say, memory's king, right? It makes what extends plays.
Yeah, I was just so afraid of like yellow hybrid and then green. Getting Argomon doesn't feel good with this deck, especially with the Tamer account.
Oh, true. Argomon,
yeah. The next card that I sided in a lot was just the 3rd Sorjo. The games where I don't need 3 mats and I can afford to just kind of slow down a little bit and play another Tamer, I would side this in. So, like, for example, Yellow Hybrid. Absolute Blasts, just for if I run into Yellow Hybrid running multiple Dynas, and for the green matchup, just because, again, getting Argomon sucks with this, getting hit by Argomon sucks with this deck, because, again, I'm so Tamer dependent. So this card just kind of another option to green. There's not really too many things I can do against green to get rid of their big bodies. Like Kakaido's Breath doesn't really help too much. Absolute Blast bottom decks it, so I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the game.
And you just naturally strip with your Sorjos and Tommies. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And then this 2 Hexablows. Came in clutch. I played a Truby. At first I was like, do I side a Hexablow? Because I don't know how useful it was. After I won game 1, game 2 he actually OTK'd me, so I was like, all right, let me side this in. Sided it in, and it was GG. I should have sided this in against my game against Lilith Loop. I just wasn't sure how useful it was going to be, but it was sure going to be more useful than a Magna. And then these last 3 cards, I regret putting them in my side. I was just kind of, in theory, it seemed like it was a good idea at first, but it really never came up. 2 Magnas and then 1 Koji. Magnas, I would side it in the mirror. It kind of helped out a little bit, but not necessarily. It didn't really get to the point where I had Bayo to be able to go into it, and then Koji, it never felt good like I wanted to side that in. I felt like if I sided 2 Magnas, I had to throw in 1 Koji, where I think this could have been another Madoki or something else. But Magnas, the only time they came up in the mirror, but again, if they leave the Boku on board and they don't have a Madoki, it was just, I was able to pretty much beat them in a few turns.
All right.
So that's the deck. Again, I call it Champion Rush because that's what it really is. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions, hit up the comments. If you guys have any recommendations for anything, hit up the comments as well. And I mean, shout-outs. I gotta give the shout-outs. This is the part that really matters. All right. So let me. All right. So let's start with the first shout-out. All right. I gotta shout out Brian for letting me borrow this All-Art Susanoo. Next shout-out. I gotta shout out Steven for letting me borrow the All-Art Hammer Sparks. And then I gotta shout out my boy, i.e. my dealer, as we call it, for letting me borrow All-Art Tommies. Thank you, Tony. I told you I was going to shout you out for that. Next shout out is going to be to my boy Luis Chavez. Again, that's Luis, not Luis. It's Luis. Luis Chavez for letting me borrow this. Again, thanks you guys. And last, Garvin, little bro, thank you for letting me borrow this, even though I didn't use it. And then last shout out was probably going to be Gabe for letting me borrow that and the alt art or the pre-release Lobomon.
Nice.
Thank you, boys. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for let me make my deck look pretty to give me that confidence. It's boost to top 8. But yeah. And again, special shout out to the boys here. Couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you guys for the playtesting. Woo! Woo! Team Brian do work. What? Did I just make a new team name? Team do work.
Okay.
Team do work.
Team do work. Team do work. Team do work. Team do work.